I appreciate you guys coming out, man. I'm a high school football coach at heart. That's what I did for 10 years before I got into college football with Coach Elliott. Like I said, my dad coached me and my brother coming out. I knew from a young age that was what I wanted to do. I had a decent little career. I had really good receivers around me when I played at Newberry. That made me look really good. And I tried to live the dream and keep playing and go to Canada and try to play. And then about halfway through one of my camps up in Edmonton, I realized, you know what, I could probably coach somebody to play this quarterback position, but I can't play it anymore. So I gave it up, got into coaching, and started out of high school, was an assistant out of high school for a couple years. Got my first head coaching job when I was 26 years old, and I'm telling you, you couldn't tell me anything. I knew it all, had all the answers, and we went 0-10. And it was the most humbling experience of my life, and it kind of shaped who I am today as a coach. I realized it's not about me, man. It's about those kids. It's not about how much ball you know. It's about being able to relate to kids and building a relationship with kids. You build a relationship with a kid, you can coach him as hard as you want to coach him because he knows you care about him. And that kind of shaped the way that I thought as a coach. Coach Elliott is phenomenal. Those of you who know him, is the most down-to-earth FBS head football coach that you will ever have the chance to be around. He's just a genuine guy. There's no gray area. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks if it's going to make you feel good or hurt your feelings. And that's how he is with our kids. He's really hard on our kids. He pushes them every day. As soon as we walk off the field, he's the first one to put his arm around them. So our kids play really hard for him, and he's done a great job there trying to turn that program around a little bit. And we've had some success. We've been there for 3 years now and played for bowls. Been played in bowl games 2 out of the 3 years. Our first year went to Orlando, won the Cure Bowl. This year went out to Arizona and played Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl, and had a really good first drive, and then the wheels came off of that thing. And our kids competed, but we finished 7-6. So we feel like we're turning the corner. Feel like our best football is ahead of us. Still got a lot of work to do. What we did offensively, we were 13th in the country in rushing offense at 242 a game. We averaged 31.2 points per game, 33rd in total offense at 440 a game, 21st in third down conversion rate, 21st in first down offense, 30 rushing touchdowns and 3,141 yards rushing, which is phenomenal when you look at some of the teams that we played. We got off a ton of snaps. Like I said, we averaged 84 snaps a game, with one of those games being Army, and we only had 60 snaps against Army. And they actually were probably the 60 most efficient snaps that we had all year. But we're able to do a lot of stuff pretty good on offense, and we really stressed first down. Everybody talks about third down being the most important down in football. What we stress to our guys is win first down. You know, if you win first down, you're usually not going to have to get to a third down. So that was something kind of unique that we stressed to our guys this year. So these are my two tight ends. They're both juniors, will be seniors next year. Roger Carter here, 45. He's from Blythewood, South Carolina. He's 6'3.5", 255 pounds, does box jumps with the wide receivers, can bend and torque his body the way I've never seen a kid be able to do. Does a phenomenal job for us. He had 28 receptions, 334 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Aubrey Payne is a local product. He's a Locust Grove kid who went to Western Carolina, wanted to come back closer to home. We brought him in as a walk-on. He was a walk-on for about 2 months, and Coach Elliott rewarded him with a scholarship. He's done a great job. This was his first year playing after having to spend a redshirt year. He was second team all-conference. He had 13 receptions, 204 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So you'll see he has 6 touchdowns. Roger has 3. We do a lot of short yardage, 12 personnel stuff down in the tight zone, the plus 10. And I let them line up wherever. If we're running inside zone with a flat tag, somehow Aubrey always got Roger. I don't know if Roger's just naive enough, but he always put Roger on the ball, and Aubrey had the damn flat route. So I told him, I said, look, man, you're going to have to give this kid at least give him one of the flat routes so he can get in the end zone at some point. You're taking all the touchdowns. But these two are really good players. Like I said, they're both back. Very smart players, which is a plus, because in this offense, outside of the quarterback, the H-back's got the most on him. He's got all the run game. He's got all the pass game and running routes. He's got all the protections. He's involved in all of it. So these guys got to be kind of heady players and smart football players. And these two, we're blessed to have both of those coming back. Formationally, just kind of how we line our guys up. I'm going to just show you formationally terminology, how we do it. There's no right way or wrong way to do this, just kind of how we do it. If I can get back to the start here. This is our 2x2 sniffer set. So when we're in a 2x2 sniffer set, anytime he's in the box, now it is play specific, but his normal depth is 3 yards deep and he's going to be feet inside, feet of the tackle. Now obviously if he's going back on a split flow zone, we're going to tighten him down a little bit, but we still want him to be attached to that tackle. Anytime that sniffer is in the box and he's not really attached to the tackle, those defensive guys know, all right, he's probably coming back across the formation. So we try to not have key killers like that. We try to put him at a normal depth of 3 yards deep, feet inside, feet of the tackle. So when we're in 2x2 with him in the sniffer position, that's double right, double left. Obviously, our Z and our Y travel together. Our H and our X travel together as well. Twins puts him to the formation. So Y and Z are to the field. Same thing, X is backside. He's in the sniffer position here. And again, 3 yards deep, feet inside, feet of the tackle is his normal alignment. And again, it's play specific, so he can line up where he needs to execute his job. Deuce is our one bastard formation. Usually when you call a attached tight end formation, you call the straight to the tight end. For us, it's a little different. We always send it to the Y and the Z. So deuce right puts the Y and the Z to the field, the H and the X here to the boundary in an attached set. Trey puts him 3x1 to the field. Probably the same thing that everybody else in here calls this 3x1. And then our 2x2 detached, when he's split out here, our normal alignment is to split the difference between the tackle and the X. Obviously, play specific. If he needs to tighten his split down for something, he tightens it down. He adjusts it based off what the play is. So far right puts him to the boundary. Far left puts him to the boundary. And if we ever wanted to flip him and send him to the field, we just make a flip call. And then if far puts him away from the call, near puts him to the call. So it's pretty easy for them to be able to adjust. So this is near right, puts him to the trips call. And again, his normal alignment is going to split the difference between the tackle and the Y right there. Questions formationally before we move on to kind of how we do our motions? Anything formationally? I mean, there's 1,000 different ways to call your formations. Really, for you as a play caller, it's what's easiest for you and what you can remember. For us on motions, our tight ends are the H. So we try to make this, and I know you guys are always dealing with geniuses in your rooms either. We try to make it word association. So for us, you're the H. We're going to try and put a letter in your motion that helps you out. So if we want to start from here and go across or anything across the formation, we call it hap, and we just make a smiley face. That's the signal for hap. It tells you, it has an A in it, you are going across the formation to get to whatever you want to get to. So we can hap to near, we can hap to far, we can hap to twins. Hap tells him he's across. Hip has an I in it, so you're going from hip to hip of the tackle. Okay, so hip's got an I in it, tells him he's in the box, he's just going from one hip to the other. Again, it's play specific. Ho has an O in it, so he is going out. So that's pretty simple. And then hen brings him in. So if we wanted to start in far and bring him to the box, or we wanted to start in near and bring him to the box, we tell him hen. And then we just make it like a Hennessy signal. So it's pretty simple. It's kind of word association. Try to help them out so they can learn it as fast as they can and play a little bit faster. We didn't do near as much motion this year as we have in our previous 2 years with our previous offensive coordinator. We did a ton of H-back motion just about every other snap for the first 2 years. And this year we were more built on tempo, playing as fast as we can. So we cut out a lot of these motions. But I do think this is a really good way of doing it, is trying to word association for your guys to try and make it a little bit easier. So the way we do our inside zone at Georgia State, everybody says, God, you guys set all these school records for run offense, and your running back broke all these school records. We run 3 plays. We run inside zone. Now, we run inside zone just about every way you can run it. And if there is a way to insert your H-back on a linebacker or a defensive lineman, whether he be a 5 technique, a 3 technique, a G, a shade, a nose, if there's a way to insert in and become what that backside guard or that backside tackle would be, we do it. We've got 1,000 different ways of doing it, so we hang our hat on inside zone. That's what we run. We run pin pull, similar to the old buck sweep that a bunch of you guys probably still run. And then we run a touch of speed option. 3-run plays we run. We dabble with a little bit of power in the power read. Don't run a whole lot of it. We run a little bit of H-back counter with the H-back in the guard, but we don't run a whole lot of gap scheme stuff. We run the pin pull is about as close as we're going to get to it, and then we're going to hang our hat on inside zone, and we're going to hang our hat on speed option. We looked the other day, and we had what was like 1,100 rushing plays. 1,100 rushing plays, and was it 68% was inside zone? Was it 53% was inside zone? It's just crazy. But y'all, those of y'all who know Coach Elliott, man, that's what we're going to do. So we run a 2-man zone and a 3-man zone. I never differentiated between the two when I was a high school head coach. I never said, all right, if I'm running to a 3-man surface, I got to call it a different play. I just knew it was inside zone that way, and the tackle knew he's got a tight end beside him. But we do differentiate. If we're running zone, we'll have a 2-man zone call where he's running to a 2-man surface. And then if we have an attached tight end, we're running to a 3-man surface. So it's kind of preference. If I ever got back to where I was calling plays, I would go back to just having one word was inside zone right, whether it was a 2-man or a 3-man. It's less verbiage, which I think is easier for your kids. But we like to differentiate. So this is 2-man. So if I'm in a sniffer position here, and this front side tackle has inside zone coming to him, and I call it the same thing, like for us, if inside zone is Indy to the field, if the quarterback gets up here and says Indy, and I'm in a sniffer position, this tackle doesn't know that he's got a attached or a tight end behind him. So it's either we call it a different play, or I tap him on the ass and say, hey, I'm here. So he knows he's got an extra hat. So to take the verbiage out of him having to tap him and tell him, that's what we do. If we put him here, we just make it a different call. So for us, running inside zone to a 2-man surface, if he's in the sniffer position, this is a set that we like to run, whether it's twins or double. If he's in the sniffer position, we got a hat for a hat, so we're going to have some kind of RPO tagged here so the quarterback can read it, whether we're reading this guy or we're reading the Sam with some type of RPO. But we got a hat for a hat here, so this is just inside zone. And I don't know if you guys see mostly 4-man front or 3-man front, but inside zone to a 2-man surface here off this 4-down look. He's going to be feet inside feet of the tackle, and we teach him a vertical inside step to track that backside hip of this backside tackle. So we teach a vertical inside step to track the backside hip of this tackle, and we want inside hat and hands leverage on this 5 technique. And I've got some clips in here. Now this is from a 3x1 set with him attached, but we got the same thing here, down here in the tight zone against Ark State. So he's got a head up 6. So right now, if he was here in the sniffer position, he'd be an inside foot vertical drive, cutting off the backside hip of this tackle to get inside out leverage of this defender. Here he's attached. He's got a head up 6, so he's going to scoop the tackle. So he knows now we're going to put our inside hand down, drop our inside foot back a little bit, and we're going to scoop step, really scoop this tackle to get inside hat and hands leverage on this defender right here. Doesn't do a great job of getting his second foot in the ground. His second foot's a little too long on that step, but he does a good job of trying to rip his outside elbow through and get inside hat and hand leverage on that defender. And again, y'all stop me if you've got any questions right here. This is just a quick skip motion we do with our back right before the snap. No, not on that one. This is the same thing here. Again, if he was feet inside feet of the tackle here in the sniffer position, he'd be an inside vertical foot drive, tracking the backside hip. Me and the tackle here, we are 2 for 2 here on this. What we got here, anytime we get an odd front with an overhang and a head up, we make a tough call. You guys might make an out call or an eat call, but we're working out. So he's here. These two are working to the front side. Now me and the tackle are working 2 for 2 right here. Again, scoop step, scoop this backside tackle. Aubrey does a good job here, but he does a bad job of burying his head into this guy. I'd like for him to keep his shoulders square and not bury his head here. If he wants to, knock that guy, be physical, knock him across the tackle's face so the tackle can collect and he can work vertical. He comes off of it, but he comes off of it late. Kind of leaves the tackle in no man's land right here. Back does a good job of squeezing through there for a couple. So again, inside zone to a 2-man surface. If he's attached right here, scoop step, scoop to the tackle, working inside out, hat and hands leverage on that defender. If he's in the sniffer position, it's a vertical inside foot drive.
Does your tackle make that
Yes, tackle's making it. And it's got to get all the way to the backside here. So we make a tough call. He was tough, and it's got to get all the way back. We do the same thing in an odd front with this guy. If my tight end was attached right here and he becomes a 6 technique, now my tight end makes the tough call. He inside foot drives through the outside half of that 6 technique, just brings everybody with him. All right, 2-man zone with dash. So we do, like I said, we like to run some triple option. We got, let me get back to this first screen. The Sun Belt is a very heavy man league. So those are guys, you know, defenses who run a lot of man coverage hate to see triple option. So anytime we go into a game where we know we're going to get a bunch of man coverage, we're going to run a bunch of this dash concept, which brings the triple option into play to try to get them out of the man coverage. What we do here, our rule for the H-back is he's going to dash for the deepest. So he's feet inside feet of the tackle, 3 yards deep, and then we teach him to dash for the deepest. So if we were to get any kind of roll down safety right here, this becomes the read, roll down safety becomes the pitch, he would dash for the safety that's rolling to the middle third. If the safety stays high right here in a 2-shell look, he's just going to dash for the deepest, and when he dashes, he wants to dash for the outside armpit of the deepest defender. So we got the read here on the 5 technique, we got the motion coming by the Y, and we're dashing for the deepest here on the outside. We will get into some stuff where we send this guy, if we're getting a lot of trap corner, well, we will release him right here, and the quarterback makes a heavy call, tells the guys up front, hey, don't go too far downfield. There's a chance that I'm going to pull this and pop it in the hole shot right here with the trap corner. But just simple rules right here, just dashing for the deepest. Now, what we morphed into this year with our H-backs, because these two were so smart, is we told them you can dash from anywhere. You know you're dashing for the deepest. So we run a play, which we'll get to here in a minute, where we're inserting on the nose. We run a play where we insert on the G. So I tell them, you can line up front side of this, you can line up back side of this. I don't care where you line up as long as you know you got to get back to your responsibility. The only difference is if we know we got a fast filler and we're trying to get to him on a seal play, if you got a fast filler, you need to line up play side. But we tell him to line up anywhere. You can see Roger here does a good job of getting down in here. This is double with a dash call. Now the only difference here is we've gone ahead and lined the receiver up so we don't have the motion. So we're dashing for the deepest, and we actually have an arc call here by the tackle. So the tackle's arcing this, trying to get outside leverage of this box defender on a squeeze scrape. If he arcs and this guy goes with him, he just collects it, and that becomes the read. Roger's rule is to dash for the deepest. If on his path this guy runs across his face, he goes ahead and takes him. Again, you can see he mixes up his alignment. He can dash. He knows he is always dashing away from where the run is going, so it's inside zone to the right. He knows he is dashing to the left, so he is dashing for the deepest defender. Line up wherever you want to line up, as long as you know that's where you got to get back to, is dash for the deepest. If this guy runs across your face, you can go ahead and collect it and swap. Here's one with the motion right here from the receiver. Again, dash for the deepest. So we've got the read. This should be read. This should be pitch. His rule is to dash for the deepest. I would like to see Roger insert and get back outside leverage of this guy. He feels like this guy's running across his face, so he goes and collects. If that's the case, quarterback takes it, and this now becomes the pitch key. This was game 1 up in Knoxville. We got a lot better at this triple option stuff as the season went. I tell you one thing that we did, and everybody in here works a run mesh period with your quarterbacks and your backs. We've always worked it the first 2 years. This year we did something different. We brought their tight ends down during run mesh period, and they worked on their dash. So I'm back there playing safety with a square bag, and they're dashing for my outside armpit, making sure they get the right leverage. We bring the centers down so the centers get snaps, and we bring the tackles down. So if we got an arc call, or if we're trying to inside veer release the tackle to that play side linebacker, they're getting that work too. So Coach Elliott's over here playing linebacker during that period. I'm playing safety. Lambros is playing defensive end. We got a lot of people doing a lot of things, but it gets a lot of people a lot of reps without having the physical taxing of having to hit each other all the time. So one more dash right here. Again, this is into the boundary right here. Dash, Cam, this is one of the transfer tight end we have from Florida who graduated this year, but he's dashing for the deepest, bypass that, leave that for the pitch. He's dashing for the deep safety. They squeeze scrape us right here. Dan does a good job of getting it out of his hand, and we convert on a third down. All right, split flow zone. Everybody runs a little bit of split flow zone. we do the same thing. So we tighten his alignment up just a little bit. We don't want to have too many tendencies. But our landmark on this is the outside leg of the backside guard. So my tight end gets up. He knows he's got split flow zone. His eyes automatically go to the outside leg of the backside guard. That's his landmark. If this guy gets squared up to us and we can cut him, we throw through the inside thigh board of this backside defensive end right here. If we can stay up, I'd rather them stay up as much as they can. Guy does a good job of coming back, getting inside out, hat in hand, leverage on this defender, and we spit it out. Yeah, I'm going to get you. Yep. So right here, split flow, just your inside zone. Now, we'll run a ton of the split flow zone where we'll arc this backside tackle. We'll arc him. If we're feeling like that 5 technique, or if you got a heavy 4-eye and that guy keeps squeezing, which makes your cross block for your tight end a lot harder, we'll arc that tackle, which helps you out with the angle of your tight end coming back to kick this guy out.
What's your term for the H coming across?
So we've had 2 different ones. So this year we just called it inside zone. So if this was Indy, we'd say Indy back, or however you want to do it. So the back call told him he was coming back for it. This year we called it cross. So it was Indy cross. He knew he was coming across to get him. I think whatever is easiest for you guys as play callers. So here we go. We start in 3-by-1. We hen him into the box. He hens in. Now the way we did this is he can line up in 3-by-1 or he can line up in 2-by-2. But if we just said hen, Indy cross, he knew where he had to get to. So he can line up 3-by-1, he can line up 2-by-2, line up wherever you want, just as long as you know where you got to get to make the play work. So he starts in 3-by-1, hens in. We got split flow. So a pretty good concept. Everybody runs a good bit of split flow zone. Backside guard does a great job of posting this right here for the backside tackle. It's a good play. Right, like for.
We can go all the way to the backside even if you wanted, or does cross tell me he has to?
So he knows based on if it's cross. If it's Indy cross, he's got to get here. If we were running inside zone to the boundary cross, he knows he's got to stop here. He knows he's got to cross the formation for the inside zone.
You're forcing that cross. So
Yes.
Just go to the backside.
No, he can't just go to the backside and cut it off.
What
No.
would you call if you wanted that backside?
If we wanted to call it backside, we'd just call hen Indy, and he knows, all right, it's inside zone. We won't run Indy to me. I got to get backside. So, and then here's a good job. This guy gets squared up on him right here. And Roger cuts him. He really doesn't do a great job of getting squared. Roger cuts him. This was a year ago. They changed this rule now, but Roger about is this dude's career right here. Cuts him down pretty good, and we spit it out the front side. So split flow. Now we will run this with we'll call it an open formation, which will put your tight end back here in the backfield. Right here, we're in a 20 personnel set, which is really good about all this H-back stuff. If you've got 2 thumpers at running back, you can put one of your backs back here and do the same thing. So I'll show you this, guys, from the end zone view. Anytime we get against an odd front, we don't like split flow zone because in our league, those guys aren't really 4 techniques. They're really heavy 4-eyes. So they're going down inside. So your split flow zone isn't great unless you start arcing that tackle to get that 4 technique to widen out. So here we've got it called, and our rule here is if we call inside zone, if we call the split flow zone and you got an odd front, then my landmark's still the same. And if that guy squeezes, we call it the Charmin block. We're going to wipe the tackle as we go by him, and we're going to get vertical for this linebacker. So you see here, 38 does a pretty good job of coming back. This guy, our left tackle, is trying to scoop inside to get this backside linebacker. 4 technique plays across. He collects. Wipe to the tackle as you come by. Get inside out, hat and hands on that linebacker. So again, not a great play against an odd front. We would rather run our insert stuff, which I'll get to here in a second. But if we call it, they get into an odd front. These guys know based off their rules how to work it out up front. Same thing in the backfield. 38 does a pretty good job. All right, our seal tag. So our seal tag is just another tag that we can get on our guys. If there's a chance for triple option, if we were bringing the Y in motion right here and there's a chance for triple option, we leave the alley defender alone and we seal box to safety because you're pitching off the alley. If there's no triple option and you got an alley defender, we automatically go for the alley. So we don't get into a whole lot of seal, but just a different way of running it. We're going to leave the very outside guy for the quarterback, and we're going to seal the alley right here. You see Roger does a good job of getting inside out of this guy. Dan sees two outside the tackle. He knows that's a handoff read right there. Roger's on him, and we spit this thing out against Troy this year. So here is inside zone 2 and attached tight end. Anytime we run inside zone 2 and attached tight end, his rule is really easy. We're going first pass declared is who we got. So the line gets up here, they declare they're working to that guy. First pass declared is usually the Sam backer. Aubrey does a terrible job right here of keeping his hat and hands inside leverage of this guy. That is awful. But 12 personnel, inside zone, run it to the tight end. His rule is really easy. Just tell him he's got first pass declared. Pretty good job up front spitting that thing out. You can see here that our guys got into this damn wind-up stuff that we started doing this year anytime we broke big runs. Anybody play Dooley County in here? Does anybody play Dooley County down in South Georgia? This is our right tackle right here, was a redshirt freshman, Travis Glover. Played 1 year of high school football, 6'6", 330. It was a redshirt freshman this year, played every game for us at right tackle. That dude's going to be a monster. He's going to be a monster. All right, so here's the insert stuff, which I think is really, really good. Coach Elliott, if there is a way to insert, let me get back to the start of this so you guys can see it. If there is a way to insert your H-back on a defensive technique, we can do it. We got a ton of different ways of doing it. So this is our insert on a G or a 3 technique. So when we originally installed our wheel concept where we are inserting for the wheel, we originally comboed this with the guard. And we said, all right, we're going to work a combo with the guard, tied in with the guard on this backside G or 3 technique to the backside linebacker. Now we went ahead and left the queen, and now we go ahead and we call this. So this is a 2-man insert on a G technique. So it's still inside zone to the play side. The tackle has now become an independent operator. He's by himself. Really, all I've done as a tight end is I've become this backside tackle. So I'm with this backside guard here on this G technique to the backside linebacker. He has become an independent operator. So he's locked on this backside 5 technique. The tag that we used for this year was toe. So the tackle knew, all right, when I got toe, that tells the tight end he's with the guard. So I'm locked. I'm locked on this 5 technique. Now we would do this and we would toe arc, and that tells that backside tackle, now I'm arcing, now we're reading this guy. So you get back to your regular inside zone reading the 5 technique. And we ran this against Tennessee this year, and they had absolutely no idea how to defend it. So you got inside zone this way, so it's just regular inside zone for these guys, okay, working to this Mike linebacker. The toe tag tells the tackle he's an independent operator, and now my tight end is going to get tied off the hip of this guard. Okay, he's going to get in here. He's going to get to the outside hip of this guard because he and I are working on this guy to this backside linebacker. If this G plays across the face, the guard collects it. I track the hip and work here. If he plays backside, then I'm going to come collect it with inside hat and hands leverage, and the G is going to work to the wheel. So we've got a combo between the tight end and the guard on this backside G to the backside linebacker. So all this is turned into is your backside gate block, if that's what you call it on the backside of inside zone with your guard and tackle. So you see here, and again, now these are big dudes that he's having to insert on. So I'd like for Roger to get his butt down, get his pads down a little bit more, maybe a touch more. Maybe we could get a touch more on this backside from the guard, be thicker through that inside half before he passes it off. But you've got inside zone to the front side, nothing changes. And now I've become the backside tackle with that guard. So it's a pretty neat way of getting in there and inserting. And again, you can arc this guy, read this 5 technique, and arc him box to safety, and now you're back to your read. Okay? If you want to bring that receiver in motion, you can arc this guy and put him on the box, read this, and this becomes your pitch key. So you can insert on this G technique, what we called toe this year. You can insert and still do all the other stuff you want to do in run game. But if we do a little bit better job here on the front side, and Roger does a little bit better job right here, this thing's going to go for a while right here on this run. It's a pretty good play for us. So here's another way of getting to it. Now, we canyon split this week against Tennessee. So we went with a canyon split, which told these guys we're going max line. So the outside guys are 3 from the tick marks, and then these guys are going to be -2 to the field. Roger has cut his split a little bit because he's about to come in motion. but we should be a little bit wider here, 3 from the tick marks. These are those the Baylor splits that Kendall Browse and those guys did at Baylor. Just a different way of getting a defined box for your run game. But we're hitting him in, so this is what I tell them. You can start in 3x1, you can start in 2x2. I don't care where you start, as long as you know where you got to get to for the run. So inside zone to the field for us right here, and the 2-man call is Indy. So he knows he's got to get to this backside guard's hip right here. Roger does a good job of motioning in. And Dan ends up actually pulling this one. But get in here tight off that hip, and then it's still the same thing. Still inside zone to the front side right here, to the mic. Now I'm comboed here with the guard to the backside, independent operator on the backside with the tackle. Now our tackle, anytime we get a stack box or we feel like this safety has become an insert player, his rule is to zone through. He's going to slow sift that 5 technique to the backside safety right here. So that's what Hunter's doing right here, is slow sifting this 5 to the safety. Now Dan just becomes a read on that 5 technique. But you can see here the insert, he plays across his face, track his hip, get inside out leverage on this linebacker right here. So it's pretty good little deal. Pretty good little deal for us.
You wanted the tackle to release on him and get to the back of the frame.
Yeah, he's slow sift that thing. So if that 5 squeezes into him, he's just going to go ahead and take him. All right, let me see. Did I skip a slide? All right. So that's inside zone with the insert of the G or the 3 technique, okay? And this is what we put in when we played App State 2 years ago. Those four techniques from App State, man, those jokers can move. They're quick. Yes, sir.
Can I just ask you, what problem did that solve for you?
Just a different way of eliminating your backside guard tackle gate block. Just bring the tight end in, insert him. He takes the place of the tackle. Now you got a hat for a hat if you want your RPO game. Or if you want your triple with the tackle out, you arc the tackle and read the 5 technique. So it's just a different way of defending inside zone. Love it against an even front. Love it against an even front. Now, I tell you what, I'm going to go back to this right here. Since you asked that, we will run it against an odd front, which is why your guys got to be kind of smarter players. If I can get back to the, here you go. So if we're running against an even front right here, simple, I'm with the guard on the backside, 3 technique or G to the backside linebacker. So let's say they kick this guy to a nose and you got a head up 4 technique and we want to run toe. Now I'm going to get to the inside hip of this tackle and me and the tackle are on this 4 technique to the backside linebacker. So we will run it against an odd front, which is why your guys got to be smart enough to know I got a 4 down or I got an odd front. So, and it's easy for us game plan wise, and it's probably the same for you guys. You know what you're going to see, whether it's 4 or odd, before you get to the game. So we'll run it against an odd front and still do the same thing. We'll push the point. So if you got a head up 4, a nose, and a 4, we'll push it out. So they're working out. So he'll be out to the overhang. He's to the 4. The center is to the mic. And then me and this tackle now become a combo on this 4 technique to the backside linebacker. Okay. So we will run toe against an odd front. He just knows now instead of being with the guard, I'm going to slide to the inside hip of that tackle, and he and I are comboing. That's a good question. This we put in solely for the odd front. Now, you can run it against an even front. If you're going to run it against an even front, you need to run it to the 3 technique. So you got the backside shade right here. So I can insert. But we ran this really to try to control that 4-eye, especially against App State. They do so much slanting and angling with those 4 techniques. And those guys are heavy 4-eyes and they're quick as hell. So we said, how do we eliminate that running our inside zone to it? Is we're just going to push the point. So we run inside zone against an odd front. This is one of our go-tos. It's a great short yardage, 12 personnel play if you got an attached tight end. But odd front, we're going to insert on the nose. So we're going to work out to the overhang, work here to the 4. Now I'm going to become the backside guard is all I'm doing. I'm becoming the backside guard, and I'm going to hammer this nose to the front side linebacker. Okay? Now, I tell them, hey, look, if you want to block the nose, and have a really long day, just get in there and titty bump with him. If you want to go to the linebacker who's more your size, knock that nose across the center's face so the center can collect, and now you can work to the front side linebacker. On the back side of this thing, the guard and tackle know they're independent operators. So based off the leverage of this linebacker, if this guy's head up to inside, then they're not going to fan fold it. If this guy's head up to or outside leverage to head up the tackle, we'll work what we call a poker block, which you O-line guys probably already do. Fan the guard out, wrap the tackle inside for it. It all depends on the leverage of this linebacker. Obviously, the tighter he is, the tougher that block is if you fan fold the tackle. So on the back side of this, they're independent operators, and this has been a great play for us, man. We've gotten a ton of mileage out of this play. Obviously, you think anytime you insert an A-gap, you're probably running this play, which is correct. But you got a play action and RPO game off of this too, because you just make a heavy call. I insert right here, and now we're still low hat. We're still low hat run, and now I'm just going to sit off this center's hip, and we're going to double team the nose. If the backer comes, he'll come for it. I'll take the nose, and now we're pass pro'd up. We got a hat for a hat. We can throw RPOs. We can throw deep shots. So it allows for you to have a built-in play action pass off of this right here. We've got a ton of mileage out of this play. So this is against App State, and it's the same thing. So we're going to work out here to the front side, working out to the 4 technique. Me and the center on this nose to the front side linebacker, and then on the back side of this, they're independent operators. They can poker this. As tight as this guy is, they might just, well, they ended up going ahead and poker it. I thought they might just go ahead and regular block that thing, but it's a pretty good job to the front side. That center's a stud, man. That center's 5'10", 5'11" on a good day, but he was a state championship wrestler, played a great program, Dutch Fork High School out of South Carolina. Didn't have a whole lot of offers. We beat Wofford on him. He's been a 2-year starter, was an all-conference kid for us this year. It's not working now. Well, there we go. Hold on. I lied to you. It's got demons. All right, so here we go in 12 personnel. So 12 personnel, this is just a real quick motion to get him down in here on the center. So he can work here on the nose to the front side. Center does a great job right here of posting this before he passes it off. It's a great job to the front side. I don't know, this thing's demon possessed. Here, I'll get back there and run it from there. So pretty good job there again by just about everybody spitting that thing out to the front side. Now I'm going to take away your view. So you can see here, does a pretty good job there on his insert, coming tight off the hip of that center so he can get in there. Center does a great job. It's a great job to the front side, and a good run by DeMarcus. Here it is again. Bring him in. Now here it is with the arc tag. So now we're just arcing that tackle for the force defender. Still the same thing to the front side, working an out call on that 4 technique to the overhang, center and tight end to 44. Reading that backside 4 technique. So that's our insert on the nose. This is the one that I think is our best one. We get a ton of mileage out of this play. This is our insert on the backside wheel linebacker right here. So again, I tell them they can come from backside, which is what you get seen drawn up here. This is a great play against an odd front, against an even front. Really good against an odd front because it clears up his entry point. Against an even front, he's just got to be a smart football player and see what he's got. If I got a shade, I'm probably going to be a B-gap insert. If I got a G or a 3, probably going to be an A-gap insert. So he's still feet inside feet of the tackle. His depth is 3 yards. I usually back him up to about 3.5 on this play because the deeper he is, the easier his insert is going to be. But we're running inside zone to the front side. Again, we call this queen. So we put him on the weak side linebacker. We used to call it bow, back on wheel, okay? Just word associated for your guys. But anytime this tackle hears bow or queen, he knows he's an independent operator, so he's locked on this 5 technique. If you still want to read the 5 technique, put an arc call on it, arc him. Now you got the quarterback run with it too. But this is one of my favorite plays that we run. We've gotten a ton of mileage out of it. So here he's coming from the back side. I tell him he can come from the front side. So if he's going to come from the front side, he's going to tighten his split down a little bit. If he's over here, and now I tell him the same thing. He's going to work the Charmin block off to this guard. So he wants to wipe the guards as he comes by, and I want inside hat and hand leverage on this backside linebacker. It's the same thing here. If he stays here, he's a lateral step for entry, and I want inside hat and hands on this backside wheel linebacker right here. I think we've got some clips in here of him coming from the front side and from the back side. So here it is this year against Ark State. Again, you got a 4-man front. He's got a heavy 3 technique. He knows he's going to be an A-gap insert. Now you'll see up front, anytime we tag our backside, our insert on the wheel, or if we're inserting on the nose, or if we're inserting on the G, we're going to get exaggerated splits up front. Okay, so you'll see that's why we've got those splits. Roger does a good job here of A-gap insert. It's a good job to the front side. You just got the Sam screaming in. And again, if you want to control that Sam quarterback, you can control him with the RPO game. It's a good run by Trey. We've gotten a ton of mileage. I'm going to try and buzz through some of this so I can get to some of the other stuff. But here it is again. Now, here he is. He's coming from the backside. So again, he wants to be tight. He wants to be tight off to that guard when he comes by to get this backside wheel linebacker. He does a pretty good job right here. It's a good job to the front side. Again, center. Watch that center. Center does a great job. Great job. Roger does a good job of coming back. Inside, hat and hands. And here's the great thing about this block, man. This guy doesn't have to be an MFer. He don't have to go knock this guy's face off. He's just got to be able to get in front of this guy with hat and hand leverage. He don't have to go knock his helmet off to have this be a good play. And this is a heads-up play by Roger right here. So we've got the same thing. I like this play. I tell them I think it's easier for me as an H-back to make this block coming back across because now I'm automatically off my angle. I'm automatically going to have inside hat and hands on this guy. It's a little tougher when I'm tracking this guy from the backside to get inside out leverage. So I like coming from the backside. I also like it because if this backside backer who I'm locked on, he comes off the edge right here, I know this is just turning into cross for me. This is just split flow zone now. And we bust a big one out the back door here against ULM. It's the same thing here. Now the only difference here, we've taken arc call here. So now I'm motioning in. I know I'm locked on this backside linebacker. We got an arc call for the tackle to go to the overhang. So we're reading this 4 technique. What we tell them is if that 4 technique plays across your face, if he runs down your throat, take the 4 technique, all right? And now you and the tackle have just switched responsibilities. We got a tackle out there running the nobody. But here, that 4 technique plays across Roger's face. Roger goes ahead and collects it. We spit it out the front side. So again, that's one of my favorite ones. Real quick, and I'll buzz through this. We run so much inside zone. This was the flat tag that I was telling you guys about. All he does is 2-step dash release. He's flat behind the line of scrimmage. We're man for man over here with the receivers. And the quarterback, if he gets the look that he wants, it's just an easy RPO, man. It's an easy post-snap, pre-snap. If you got the numbers, pull it and throw it. A ton of it down here in the tight zone, down here in the +5. Pulls it, looks like he's going to run it, spits it out here to the tight end. We got a ton of mileage off the flat tag. Got a ton of mileage off this hitch tag. So this is just 2x2 RPO. This is one of our easiest RPOs right here. With the tight end and the field, you got 6-yard hitches by everybody. So this is against Troy early in the game right here with a canyon split. So if Dan has the box, we're a little different than everybody else. RPOs usually start in the box. You look in the box and then you look outside. We go from outside in. So if you got what you want on the perimeter, spit it out there. If you don't, then you come to the box. But here, he does a good job of pulling it and spitting it out there to the tight end. Easy hidden yardage, man. Easy hidden yardage. Same thing, canyon split. 6-yard hitch. Backside wheel squeezes, pull it, spit it. Easy hidden yardage. Easy RPOs. All right, I'm going to get to this one because this is my favorite, and I'll be done, I promise. All right, this is one of the ones we got a ton of mileage out of right here. This is what we call just a snap mirror. You can call it Oscar because it's all outs, but it's from a snug alignment. You can run it from a snug alignment. You can run it from a regular 2x2. But what we teach is a 45-degree angle spray release from the outside receivers, the Z and the X, and they got 4-step outs with press conversion on the outside. And on the inside right here, we teach 6-yard vertical square outs. If that area is vacated, you can hitch it. So it's an RPO. So we've got inside zone called right here. We've got inside zone called. Dan sees that he likes it to the boundary, pulls it, spits it to the tight end. Again, easy hidden yardage. So a 45-degree angle spray release by the X and the Z, 4-step outs for them, press convert if they get press coverage. And then here, Roger does a good job of filling the soft spot, just turning, hitching, putting it on him. We got a ton of mileage out of this play this year. Here it is from a regular split. And then again, you'll see some of our biggest runs this year were right up the middle because that Sam and Will are expanding now for that RPO game. And you get a half for a hat. We're spitting one out to the front side right there. Here it is again from a 2x2 alignment. The only thing you got to teach that tight end is when he gets to 6 yards and he square cuts that thing, he needs to get those eyes to the boundary corner. If you get a squat corner, obviously you're sitting in the zone. You don't want to run into a kill shot. This is a great throw or a great catch right here by Roger, catching it and getting vertical. I was going to get into some of the pass game stuff that we do with those guys with 4 verts and 4 vert switch, and then one of our cross concepts. But you guys, if you want any of this, man, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. Just follow me on Twitter. I'm Coach_Stepp. Coach_Stepp. But again, I got a twin brother. I couldn't tell you what his handle is, but it's going to look just like me. Just make sure you check the colors before you follow and DM. But our doors are always open. If you guys ever want to come talk ball, I'll get to this last slide. It's got our spring dates on it. I want to sit in your lap. So there's our spring practice dates. If you guys ever want to come to spring practice, our doors are always open. Now we do a little different. We practice in the mornings. So practice, it's an early start for you. But you sit there, you watch practice. After practice, we invite you in to watch practice with us as a staff. And then after we get done watching practice, usually that doesn't take very long at all. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. After we watch practice, the rest of the afternoon and night is for you guys to talk whatever ball you guys want to talk. So you guys are more than welcome to come down. I know we've had a couple of staffs from Georgia come down and see us. Our doors are always open. If we can ever do anything to help you, let us know. Obviously, some of my guys are in here. This is my recruiting area in Georgia. If I can ever do anything for any of you guys, just let us know. Again, our doors are open. We'd love to have you down. And again, if you want any of this, just follow me on Twitter, shoot me a DM. Some of you have my cell phone number in here, and we'll be happy to help, man. So thank you.
Give a hand.